Hi, everybody. I'm at Mullumbimby. We've been at the 832 gathering here. G'day, Lynette. And a remarkable thing happened. But before we do, I'm just waiting for it to come down. It's got a little bit more processing, about 2 minutes. So I wrote this song, a part of this song years ago called Cure, and I've extended it now. I've been working with AI, it's all my lyrics. But I actually think this is almost like a song for the movement because this is what we're trying to do, help people. But I put it to videos of me and Cal on the road. So it just goes for about 4 minutes. Have this, and then we'll be back with tonight's show.
If I could be anything for you, I would be your cure. I'd pour light into your wounds to soak their poison into the potions of love, into the golden and smoldering potion of love.
So helping the lives, we're very
And
grateful.
as their darkness drained, I would tear apart your cage, remolding the bars that held you into your destined wings, into your destined wings, flying above us all in your destined wings.
Absolutely gorgeous. We were the only people parked.
If from your flight you return, I would have sewn a blanket for you, cut fresh from the curative fabric of spring. But hopefully you'd fly off to that destination you were born with, the one they try to steal from your soul. That destination you were born with, the one they try to steal from your soul. If I could be anything for you,
I'd like to say a huge thank you to
I
everyone
would be your cure.
who's come out and supported Michael and Cafe Lockdown to continue doing good.
If I could be anything for you, I would be your cure. I would tear apart your cage, remolding the bars that held you into your destined wings, your destined wings, your destined wings, your destined wings. Fly, just fly. Realize all that is holding you down. A concept. If I could be anything for you, if I could be anything, I would be your cure. I would be your cure. I would be your cure. If I could be anything for you, I would be your cure. pour light into your wounds, to soak their poison into the potions of love, into the golden and smoldering potions of love.
That little girl was working with the flag. I was at Epic and I was filming all the people heading down. Thanks, Leander. Thanks, Jay. And the father came up and said they'd been looking for an Australian flag anywhere. They couldn't find one. And I was wearing mine as a cape. So I gave her mine. And and I took that shot of her walking away. So I think I actually got the better deal because I've used that shot loads of times. Anyway, I'm in Mullumbimby, and for the 832 gathering, I interviewed Adrian, who might be on the show tonight, and I interviewed Marie, who's just been diagnosed with dementia. That was, yeah. Anyway, and then I was approached. Yeah, I saw Jay, and it's really sweet, man. Then I was approached by g'day Forsh. Thanks, man. Hey Lynn. I was approached by a man who said he wanted to know, am I the indie reporter? And from Cafe Lockdown, and from the bus, and he'd been in Mullumbimby complaining, is where he lives, that no one would cover his story. And someone said, well, there's a guy in town that does stories, so why don't you reach him? And thanks, Clive. And so he came here and reached out to me. Now, what he is, he's in his 60s. I think he's 64 now. And 2 years ago, 18 months ago, he came back from Russia, where he'd spent 2 years of his life. 2 years of his life documenting the war from the Russian side. So he's not pro-Russian. He's not pro-Ukraine. He's sort of like what I'm doing, except I'm doing it from a COVID point of view. And he's doing it from the war point of view. And he's been recording interviews with people and recording what he sees there on the ground. And he's tried to be thoroughly independent. I was trying to get... it's on 97%. I am going to put it up now. What it is, I've done another version where he speaks. It's a little quiet, and the videos is loud. I am trying to do another version, but it's 1 minute 8 seconds to go. But that's been 1 minute for ages. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to play this. If the other one works through, I might replace it if it's louder. And so I put this together today. I did the interview in the morning, and I got some of the videos, images from his videos. I did this picture from one of his videos, which, watch this now. You want to come up? There. Yeah, look at this young girl. They're going off. One of her hopes is that there's no drones. And there they are going to some frontline town. And yeah. Anyway, this will probably get us in a lot of trouble because I'm not sure you can be you can talk approvingly about Russia in Australia. I don't know. But anyway, without further ado, I'll play it. This is called From Russia with Love.
With the volunteer unit of our BAT, and we are going to Suja. So we have two soldiers in the front. They'll take care of us, they'll drive, they'll protect us. We have the drone guns here, the hunting guns. And we have a lovely Lisa. She is, some of you already know her. She's the press secretary of our BAT. She takes care of all the press, and Ivan, which you all know. Lisa, where are we heading to today?
We're going to Sucha today. We will try to find some civilians and talk about the war crimes and the crimes of the Kiev mod, to talk about this, and maybe we will find something interesting there. And I might say that I hope that there is no drones.
Тут свечку недавно ставили.
In the 2 years that I've been here, I've seen again and again and again Ukraine targeting the churches, because in some ways this is also a religious war. Yesterday we were in a church, a few churches were totally destroyed. They also turned the churches into military bases because they feel safe in the church, because Russians will never shell the home of God and things like this. So today I light this candle for peace. Many wars, it's like many wars through history, like even the situation in Gaza. If the Americans pull the support, the war will be over tomorrow. No satellite support, they can't send their missiles, no internet, they've gone. The war is over. I mean, this is a war of empire. The Ukrainians are dying, and believe me, I have many friends in Ukraine. And basically, the Russians are dying. The Russians on both sides are dying. And this is the scam. This is the sad thing, you know. And yeah, it's and another thing is people in the West always describe Putin as this monster that wants to conquer Europe.
Yeah.
I have news for you. In Russia, Putin is viewed as a dove. In Russia, Putin is viewed as somebody who actually doesn't have a stomach for war. First of all, remember that Putin, for 8 years, didn't come in and help Donetsk with Russian troops. They were begging him. No, he went for Minsk I. He was fooled in Minsk I. He went for Minsk II. Then, 2 months after the war started, he went to Istanbul. He tried in every way possible to stop this war. Putin is not a warmonger. Actually, Putin is seen, I would say, I can't really say by number, but by a lot of Russians, probably at least 50% of Russians, as too soft, too diplomatic. You know, like, because the West has crossed so many red lines and still never came this really strong response from Russia, I think that. So the West kept on crossing the red lines. And I have a lot of respect from Putin because he's juggling an empire, a country with 11 time zones. He took it from the ruins of Boris Yeltsin and Gorbachev that sold everything to the West, to the oligarchs and things like this, and he brought it to this ultra-modern, prosperous country that even under war has a better economy than any country in the West. So on this level, I have a lot of respect for him. I'm just telling you, as an eyewitness, what I observe in Russia. And Russia people wish Putin would be a bit stronger with the West. Even the Russian liberals, or the people that were admiring the West before, they have no time anymore from the West. They think they've crossed too many lines. They supply these long-range missiles. I mean, I've been in Moscow with drones, Ukrainian drones were on Moscow and things. So it's like they've crossed too many red lines. This war is not a Ukraine war. It's Boris Johnson, MI6, CIA war. And the moment the foreigners pull out of this war will be settled in 24 hours. And this is Trump's lies and things, because he said he will settle it in 24 hours. No, he just needed to move out. And if he pulled out, it would have been settled in 24 hours.
Here.
No, the back.
Another rocket hit nearby.
Let's get into a house or something. Is this our castle or something?
No, it's not cluster. I see this. We see the smoke up there. It was right there where we left now.
Oh, fuck, let's get out of here.
Okay, so first off, who have we got here? What's just your first name?
My name is Johnee H. That's my journalistic name. Johnee is my birth name. I would say I'm almost a native to this area. I've been here 45 years.
But where's that accent from, though?
This is really an international accent. I told you yesterday I grew up in international schools and things like this.
Yeah, but you didn't tell them. They don't know who you are. They weren't privy to this conversation. Why don't you inform us? Because it's an interesting accent.
Yeah. And been here 45 years, but also been a citizen of the world. I've been a reporter, but I have a few hats. I've also been a musician, and I've also had a big permaculture company.
Oh, really?
And that's how I first came to Russia, teaching permaculture in Russia years ago, So, and that's how I first came to Ukraine. And that's how I first was exposed to really what's happening in Ukraine when I was actually lecturing on permaculture in Ukraine.
Wow. So how long ago was that?
To Russia, I went first time 2017, and then I went for long visit 2018 when they had the World Cup, Football World Cup.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was also lecturing all over Russia. And to Ukraine, I went...
What was that like? That must have been amazing.
That was amazing. That was amazing. I mean, we'll talk a bit about Russia during this talk. I mean, Russia is an amazing place. It's not at all what they tell you in the media.
Yeah.
Not at all. I mean, Russia is an amazing place. Russia are like us, you know what I mean? Because it's a big country, it's a resource country. It's a big country.
Yeah.
The outback is the outback. They're rough, but they're kind, the moment you come, the vodka is on the table, and if you don't drink, you're in trouble, and the cities are cities, way more modern than our cities, way cleaner, no homelessness, zero homelessness, so.
And why is that? They don't put up with homelessness, or they look after them?
They look after them, The metro in Moscow is like there's 400, I think, and 80 stations. Every station is like a museum, you know what I mean?
Really?
It's, I mean, we have the wrong idea of what Russia is. So I went there to 2018. I had a lot of fun. And I traveled all over the country. I mean, not all over the country, up to the middle, which is called Irkutsk. But I was in Siberia, I was in Altai, I was in Baikal. I lectured in the highest institute in Russia, like they invited me even to Akademia Gorodok, to Novosibirsk, where all the innovation in Russia comes from.
Wow.
They were really interested in permaculture. They still are.
Yeah.
And I was also touching geopolitics and stuff like this. I was saying to them at the time, and I remember very well, because, a lot of the Russian liberals then, not anymore now, they were admiring the West. And I said, don't look at the West as such a democratic heaven. Wait and see.
Yeah.
And they said, no, you don't understand. We can't say everything we want here, and you can. And then when COVID came and they were watching what's happening in Bourbon, they were writing to me and they said, well, we can do what we want in COVID, so, you know what I mean? They had an eye-opener during COVID, and then with the war, they had even a more eye-opener what the West is all about.
Well, let's start there, because you actually approached me yesterday and said you'd been there to Russia during the war. As an independent reporter.
Yeah, I went especially, but let's start with Ukraine first.
Sure.
So I went to Ukraine in 2019. I had a wonderful time, and I spent quite a bit of time there, almost 4 months. I was teaching, lecturing, and also then a colleague of mine from this area came, also John Button. We were designing some permaculture projects there. It was a great place. At the same time, there was a really dark undercurrent. I personally observed Nazi marches on the street. People marching on the street. I probably shouldn't make the salute, because then somebody will cut it. Somebody will cut it and say.
We know what the salute looks like.
And they will just go Heil Hitler, Heil Bandera, which means Stepan Bandera is the national hero of the Ukraine nationalists.
Yeah.
And he was a collaborator of Hitler and things like this. So they will just chant these names. And all before the marches, usually my mates would say to me, because my mates, alternative and things, said, "Get off the street today." I said, "I want to go and film it." He said, "You don't want to film it. You won't be alive if you go and film it." You know what I mean? Like, just get off the street, don't go near. Don't go near. But I was watching a little bit from afar and things like this, just I wanted to know if it was true or not true. But it was true. But at the same time, there was a really deep undercurrent of hatred, that like a whole society was educating. Like even I was, I'm lecturing on permaculture. People are into yoga, meditation, a lot of them vegan, vegetarian. And then after the talk, they would come to me and say, my dream is just to go and kill some Russians.
My God.
But the hypocrisy of it, they are Russian.
Yeah.
Everybody's, not everybody, but up to Kiev, from the east of Russia up to Kiev, everybody's Russian. In the west, on the border of Slovakia and Poland and the thing like this, the ethnicity is a bit different. But
Is this hate from the Stalin era, when Russia starved the Ukraine? Is the hate then on?
That's actually also a little bit of manipulation of history that started, because I've been going deep into it. No, that hate, look, the CIA went into Ukraine straight away after the war because they were frustrated that basically the Red Army liberated the world, And Stalin was fighting the Banderas for many years. That's what was happening in Ukraine, because he had to get rid of it. I mean, Russia lost 27 million people to Nazism. And then when Khrushchev came, Khrushchev was actually, Ukraine wasn't really a country. Ukraine was just another oblast, which is region of the Soviet Union. So Khrushchev was from the Ukraine. So he released all the Banderas from prison and basically empowered them again. And in a fit of drunkenness, that was claimed, he gave Crimea as a present to Ukraine Oblast.
Wow.
Crimea,
So he had that power.
Yeah, because he was the head of the Politburo, you know what I mean? Yeah. They had that power, then. So there was an undercurrent of a lot of hatred. But the thing is, I know Slavic languages. I've lived 3 years in Slovakia. I speak Slovak.
This is from your international upbringing.
Yeah, no, I lived 3 years in Slovakia because of a Slovak woman. And that was about 15 years ago, yeah. So I lived 3 years in Slovakia, and I can tell the difference between Serbian, Slovak, Ukrainian, Russian, and I never heard Ukrainian being spoken. I heard in Kiev. A few times people would try to say some sentences in Ukrainian, like there was a movement that we must speak Ukrainian, you know what I mean? It's like we shouldn't speak the language of the enemy, but everybody's mother tongue is Russian. In the pub when they were getting drunk, they were singing Katyusha. Katyusha is like the unofficial Russian national anthem of Russia. Everybody's ethnic origins are Russian.
Yes.
If you look at history, the first capital of Russia is about 1,100 years old, before there were more tribes and things. The first capital of Russia was Kiev.
Wow.
It's called Kiev-Karusk. And they were also proud, a lot of the people. They were saying to me, we are the first capital of Russia, not Moscow. So it was a bit of a schizophrenic situation. But I was feeling a really, really dark energy there. And I was I remember when I left, I was telling a few of my friends, this place is going to be destroyed. The energy was so dark. The undercurrent was so dark. There was something in the air, and it wasn't good, Although day to day I had a good time, it's a beautiful place, but I was hosted really nice, but there was a dark energy. So when...
It's okay, I'm just checking the cameras.
Yeah, so when the conflict started in 2022, and another thing happened in 2019. When I came to Ukraine, it was 2 months after Zelensky was voted in. Mm-hmm. Now, if people don't know, Zelensky was never a politician.
No, we know that.
Yeah, and about a lot of the audience might not know. Yeah. Zelensky was a comedian.
Yeah.
And he had a show called Servant of the People.
Okay.
And he was the president in the show,
Okay.
So then this guy, I think it was in 2018 or 17, this guy called Igor Kolomoisky, a Jewish oligarch in Ukraine, started to groom Zelensky, and Zelensky registered a political party called Servant of the People.
Oh, based on the actual show?
Yeah.
Wow.
Zelensky refused to go to any debates. He had no political debates or anything like this, but because his oligarch owned all the media in Ukraine, he was getting all the, you know, all the good reports and things, reportage and things. And then
So a debate might have been damaging to him if he showed that he couldn't actually
he had
do
no
it.
political knowledge
that's
whatsoever. Right. He is just basically servant of the oligarchs, servant of the elite. So then...
which is an irony for the name of his party. So he's actually serving the oligarchs, but he says I'm serving the people.
I mean, after he got in, he got into. Eventually, he fell out with his oligarch, but the oligarchs ran away to Israel because all Ukrainian Jewish oligarchs have dual citizenship. By the way, if people don't know, Zelensky's parents live in a $7 million villa in Israel. You know, and this is where Zelensky will probably escape to. There's a bit of now recently. There's been a big scandal of corruption in Ukraine, and I think the name was Midik. Anyway, more Jewish oligarchs. Now, please. People are going to start to call me anti-Semitic and things like this. There is a Jewish conspiracy there, but please don't call me anti-Semitic. My family partly Holocaust survivors, so there's no, you know.
But the truth's the truth. It was a Russian oligarchy.
Yeah, it's the truth is the truth. No, it's Ukraine oligarchy. We'll get to the Russian oligarchy also. Which is,
Ukraine, sorry.
But which is not dissimilar. You know what I mean? We'll get there also, you know. So, I mean... So I was having debates with some of my friends. So the Ukrainians were just tired of the corruption. And like Americans, they were so tired of the political elite that they went for Trump. They didn't even care if he was corrupt, not corrupt. They wanted something different. The Ukrainians were the same. The elite was so corrupt, but they were openly corrupt in Ukraine. Ukraine was voted before the war the most corrupt country in Europe, you know. So by far, you know. So they just wanted something different. So there was a debate amongst my friends in Ukraine. They were like, Zelensky doesn't know anything. But I was just saying to them, look, Zelensky is basically a Russian Jew from Dnipropetrovsk. He didn't even, at the time, he hardly spoke Ukrainian, you know. But even now when he speaks Ukrainian, my friends from Ukraine, because I still have friends in Ukraine, tell me that his Ukrainian is really broken, you know. Wow. So he's a Russian Jew from Dnipropetrovsk, you know. And they said, he promised to end the war. And that's what they wanted. There was a war happening in the Donbass. He promised to end the war. Trump also promised to end wars. You know, it's like it seems to be parallels here, you know, with these populist people, outsiders coming in, but actually serving another agenda altogether, you know. So now we have to get a little bit into history, but I'm not going to go very far. 2014, there was elections in Ukraine. A guy called Yanukovych was voted in. Yanukovych was from Donetsk. He was voted by majority, got in. And he was just like, I'm not going with Russia, I'm not going with Europe. Ukraine is going to stay, you know, friendly with Russia, friendly with Europe. Who comes in? George Soros, and stages Orange Revolution, purple, I don't know what color it was in Ukraine, one of them, you know, stages the revolution, which was quite brutal. People died, like a few hundred people died, you know, and with the claim that Yanukovych betrayed Ukraine, Yanukovych is corrupt, they found, but every president in Ukraine was corrupt, so that was nothing new. It was basically because Yanukovych did not want to align completely with Europe, and because Yanukovych was from Donetsk, so
he wasn't playing ball.
Yeah, basically. So there was a coup, basically a coup, and a guy called Poroshenko was installed instead. Poroshenko was an old-style corrupt politician, and he was going to toe the line. And at that time, because I know it very well, I spent 2 years in Donetsk, and I talked to many people in Donetsk what really happened there. So one of the first decrees of the new government was like, from now on, Ukraine is the official language. People will have to, the kids will have to study in Ukrainian. Everything turns into Ukrainian. The people in Donetsk said, look, we are Russian. We will stay a part of Ukraine, but nobody's going to tell us to speak Ukrainian and things like this. And our kids are not going to learn Ukrainian, our kids are going to learn Russian. And they started to stage a protest in Donetsk. But if people don't know, Donetsk is completely on the east of Ukraine. It borders Russia.
Okay.
You know? So they started to stage protest against the new coup every day, peaceful process. And then one day, and I have footages of it. I mean, I wasn't there, but I have from friends who did. And Ukraine helicopter gunship came and started shooting them. And they didn't believe them were not part of Ukraine. They just believed that they were staging protests against the country. That moment changed everything. Moment changed everything, and they decided, okay, we want autonomy. They didn't think to join Russia. We want autonomy. We can't, we can't deal with it. And they decided to form a militia. And that's an interesting thing that people told me there. We found on the street in different corners trucks with guns, like ready for us. But it wasn't from Russia. It was almost like somebody wanted to start this conflict, you know what I mean? You know, suddenly we found trucks and guns.
Someone's flying the arms.
Yeah, but it wasn't Russia.
Yeah, wow.
You know, Russia started way later to
Yeah.
And so they formed basically a militia called the DPR, you know, Donetsk People's Republic. They declared, they did a referendum because Russians always go by the law. People think that Russia is a lawless country. Russia goes by the law more than us. I was also observing Russian elections, you know, like the amount of ideas you have to show and how you vote is, they did a referendum. They did a referendum in Crimea, in Lugansk, and in Donetsk. All of them voted like 95%. We want to be actually autonomous or join Russia. Russia came into Crimea immediately without one shot. You know, you just walked into Crimea, and because Crimeans are all Russian. I mean, Katerina the Great created Crimea from the Tatars, so it's another story altogether. That they walked in. But Russia did not want to walk in. Putin did not want to walk into Donetsk and Lugansk. He, contrary to what people think in the West, in Russia, Putin is a dove, not a hawk. And we'll get into that because it's very important. But in Russia, Putin, he said, you sort out your own problems. We can't, because Ukraine wouldn't have surrendered Donetsk so easily. Donetsk, all the Donbass, basically, accounted for about 80% of Ukrainian GDP. I mean, it's all the mining, it's all this. So he was just like, you sort out your own problems, you know. And that's what started. And then Poroshenko came and said, well, the children of Donbass will grow up like rats in holes because we'll bomb the shit out of them, you know. And they started to bomb, and they started this campaign that lasted from 2014 to 2022. Russia did not came in. I think it's about 2016, 17.
It's about 8 years, isn't it?
Yeah. I think 2016, 17, Russia started to supply arms, you know. But they were begging Putin, come and help us, sort out your own problems. He was helping, of course, you know, through the Minsk Accord. He was doing diplomatic efforts and things like this, but he wasn't going to send Russian troops there. Because Putin is a very hesitant person. He's a diplomat. He's an old school diplomat, you know, which is lacking in world diplomacy today. And it was no. Then in 2022, that was enough. And what broke the back of the camel's back for Putin wasn't anything to do with the war. It was the fact that Ukraine was going to join NATO.
Yeah.
Now, when Gorbachev collapsed the Soviet Union, and I'm saying that on purpose, not the Soviet Union collapsed, Gorbachev, being an agent of the elite, collapsed the Soviet Union. The agreement between him and Reagan was that NATO never moves into Eastern Europe. let alone on the borders of Russia.
So they keep it as a buffer, these countries.
But NATO moved in. They moved into all Eastern Europe. They moved into Poland, to Czech, to Slovakia, to Romania. They moved, and Putin stomached it. But Ukraine joining NATO was just like, that was the red line. Okay, huge arrival in the center of Donetsk. We are in the way. We're dressed this time properly. We don't know about follow-ons, and we'll see the smoke soon. Please like, subscribe, share, donate, everything. I actually don't even have time to say it.
The picture is also
Sasha, if you turn left and the other one, I saw the smoke. I don't know where. You can see all the destruction. This is the center of Donetsk. Looks like something hit up there. This is just a residential building. There was a bit of confusion here, and I was even stopped by some security. They didn't know who I am, but we're finally here. This is totally the center of Donetsk. We pass this building every day. It's been totally destroyed. Sasha, what is this building? We know this building.
it's service of workers, like governmental service about workers. I don't know how to say in English.
Okay. We don't actually know anything. Let's try and get some
It's a
information.
civilian building, so
Yes, we don't actually know anything. We don't know anything about casualties.
oh, here's a person up there. Her husband, you saw him in the beginning.
Yeah.
He was running to find
Oh,
her,
okay.
to pick her up.
Is she okay?
She asking for people to come here. Her husband is looking for her. He's in now in the building. She saw him.
Okay, well, the rescue hasn't arrived here yet.
Yeah, they.
Here, they have the...
So there are some people under
rubble.
under the rocks.
Ah, let's, Sasha. Total destruction at the center of Donetsk. We're waiting for some rescue to come here. I don't even see any media on site. Yeah, there's one guy here. I think after the journalists were hurt in the last event, media is more careful. We should also be careful. Sasha, if we on this side, we are more safe of the building. Of this side, right?
No, that side is more safe.
Yeah, this side, yes.
Yeah.
Because the rocket's coming from there, no?
Yes,
So we need to be on this side. Like.
yes.
So-
Or let's go to this building. Get here.
Yeah, okay. We are still not clear about, there's people here under the rubble.
At least 4 people. As this woman sat in the window, there must be 4 people inside.
Total destruction. This must have been a very big rocket. People are yelling for help. Oh, here's one woman that just got out.
Управление труда и социальной политики.
She just got out, huh? From the building, no?
Вы из здания вышли?
Да, меня вытащили.
She was taken from the building. Скажите, там кто-то остался еще?
На той стороне, на третьем этаже люди
Where's
остались.
the ambulance?
On that side, on the third floor, there are some people left. She says.
All right, we can see now. Okay, people are trying to get to. Yeah, let's try.
So we can say it's Ministry of Workers and the social politics.
Yeah, it's a civilian building. It's not a military ministry. Of course, there was also, at that time, there were so many Russian civilians dying in Donetsk every day. Putin domestically could not anymore survive, you know, if he wasn't going to help Donetsk. So Russia moved in. Russia moved in to Donetsk, and the first thing they did is they said, okay, you guys now hold a referendum. If you want to join Russia, or if you want to stay independent or whatever. And they held referendum in these four oblasts. It was Donetsk, Lugansk, Zaporozhye and Kherson. Now Zaporozhye and Kherson were just an addition that actually wouldn't have happened if NATO and Ukraine did not play games and things like this. They all voted, they wanted to be part of Russia. Donetsk and Lugansk about 98% and Zaporozhye and Kherson about 66%. Russia moved in really swiftly. They were in Kiev already. They were in Boryspil airport. They were all over, I think. Zelensky saw the lighting and I think he said, okay, let's talk. I won't join NATO. You know, they went and had talks in Istanbul. They signed a peace deal. That was just 2 months into the war in 2022. They went and signed a peace deal, and that peace deal, Zaporozhye and Kherson, were going to stay in Ukraine. It's very important to understand. They're like, Ukraine wouldn't have lost these two oblasts. And when you talk about oblasts, the regions in Russia are like bigger than countries in many, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the front line itself is longer than New South Wales. It's 1,000.
Wow.
Probably as long as New South Wales, 1,200 kilometers.
Yeah.
About New South Wales. That's the front line of the. So, these. And I remember when I went to Zaporozhye, this guy pointed to me and showed me, and the city and the council chambers, he showed me the Ukrainian flag. He said to me, you know, if Boris Johnson did not go to Ukraine, there would still be a Ukrainian flag there. So there was a peace deal. Boris Johnson hurries to Zelensky and said to him, cancel the peace deal, fight. Why fight?
I know. I remember that.
Why fight?
Yeah.
Because since World War II, probably before that, there were Napoleonic wars. Somehow the West always wanted to break Russia, weaken Russia. Somehow there's something in the DNA of Westerners that Russia is the enemy. I remember when I grew up, James Bond movies.
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%.
So something in the DNA. And even Zelensky said at some stage then, because he was still maybe a bit naive or still had a little bit of innocence, he said, they don't want us to have peace, they want us to fight on their behalf. Now, 2.5 years, in 26 it will be, no, we're almost 3.5 years now into it. I would say conservatively, and I'm not a guy who's prone to exaggeration, I would say 1,300,000 Ukrainian men died.
Wow.
300,000 Russian men died. In what I call a war for empire. You know what I mean? This is not, I mean, I have never, and I reported, you saw some of my...
These poor men are just pawns.
What?
These poor men who died are just pawns in a greater game.
Yeah, exactly. It's incredible. It's incredible. And there's a lot of criticism in Russia of Putin because they all think he could have finished this war much more swiftly.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to finish it more swiftly because he can't carpet bomb Ukrainian cities because he'll kill Russians, basically, civilians. It's interesting, if you study the history of World War II, Russians fight war in a different way. The English, the British and the Americans carpet bombed German cities. The Russians never carpet bombed one German city, even with all the suffering. They have this thing. I asked one time a professor in the university, and that yes, what's it in the Russian psyche? You can finish Ukraine in 3 days, really. You know, it's like we are bred to endure.
Wow, I love it. That's so Chekhov.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is the whole Russian psychic. It's from their poets and from their writers, from their artists. I mean, this is what Russians are. They're very deep people, you know. With their positive and negative. I'm not idealizing anybody, but I'm just saying this is how they are. We are bred to endure. It's why we rather cause suffering to ourselves than to others. And if you look even at Stalin's tactics during the World War II, it was all about enduring. You know, and for me sometimes it was hard to understand, you know, because I'm there, I'm sitting in Donetsk, I'm seeing civilians die every day, and it's just like sometimes.
What is that like, seeing civilians die every day in what is clearly a manufactured war or something else going on? How do you deal with that as a human?
I don't know. I'm still dealing with it. It's really difficult. I still probably suffer some form of PTSD. It's not normal. I've seen children mutilated, pieces of bodies. I've seen women with their makeup and their purses just lie dead on the road. Actually, one of the most touching thing, and maybe because he was at the same profession as I am, I think he was a retired military correspondent, and he was dead in the middle of the street with his bunch of roses, which he was taken home to his wife or to his daughter or whatever. It's not easy, you know what I mean? But I'm not a war correspondent. I'm a peace correspondent. I went there to show how horrible and how useless war is, and how people. I never once, contrary to a lot of mostly pro-Russian bloggers who have never been to Donetsk, I never once called the dead Ukrainians names, you know what I mean? I never once celebrated the death of Ukrainians because I knew the reality of it. Everybody in Donetsk has relatives on the other side. Every single person.
It's just tragedy after tragedy.
Every single person. I mean, I can tell you stories. For example, one story that came to me from this female war correspondent, very young, 21-year-old from Donetsk. She told me, look, my friend, he's in the artillery on this side. His classmate, his ex-classmate, is an artillery on the other side. They send him telegram messages before they fire to, be careful, I must fire now. It's almost like destruction of the Slavs, and the Slavs are allowing it. It's I met a mother who has a son fighting on both sides. She said she wakes up every night with a nightmare that one of the sons killed the other son.
My God.
I can, for example, Ivan Kupil, this guy that I worked with a lot, he was a war crime investigator. I needed help. I speak very poor Russian and things, so, you know, volunteers were driving me around. He was investigating war crimes while his brother was fighting on the other side. So somehow somebody managed to manipulate the people to fight each other. And I can tell you another story.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah. Tell you another story. I was in Sarajevo a couple of years, don't remember exactly the amount, a couple of years after the war there, which was horrendous. And I was in the nighttime, was sitting in Sarajevo. I was with my ex-girlfriend, she was Slovak, so she could speak the language with them. And they were sitting all in the cafe. I don't know, men in the Balkans always like hug each other and things like this. It's not a sign of sexual preferences, that's how men in the Balkans sit. And we were noticing that there were Serb Muslims, there were Muslims, and there were Serb Christians, you know, that before they were fighting each other. I mean, every wall in Sarajevo had bullet holes in it. And I asked him, you're just friends now. What happened? Just a couple of years ago, you were slaughtering each other. They said, oh, my brother, the politicians made us crazy. We lost our mind. We are brothers. These are people that are ethnically different.
Yeah.
These are people that have a different religion. The Ukrainians and Russians are the same people. And this is what I always say, when I call it the corporation, whatever you want to call it, the corporation removes itself from this thing, the peace will come so quick. Because these are relatives.
Yeah. They realise they're being duped. Or they will.
A lot of them do.
Yeah.
A lot of them do. I've covered so many shelling sites in Donetsk, you know, and not the first thing, but I will always ask people, how do you want this to end? Only once or twice did people say to me, we have to destroy Ukraine, and that's when we were walking over mutilated bodies. I mean, natural reaction.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, people were just saying to me, we got to talk, these are our people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no wish to destroy and things like this, you know?
So it's almost like New South Wales, Victoria fighting each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Same people,
I mean,
pointless war.
the people in Donetsk, I would say almost everybody in Donetsk, every single day is talking to somebody on the other side in Telegram. You know, a relative, a friend. Don't forget that also some of Donetsk is still in Ukrainian hands.
Yeah.
You know, Donetsk is a huge place. I mean, Donetsk and Lugansk, which is the Donbass basin, by itself could be a prosperous, independent country.
Yeah.
You know, they just figured out at the end, look, we got to join Russia. Probably, if it wasn't for this really complicated geopolitical situation, they probably would have said, okay, let's be independent.
Yeah.
You know? Because they have a really strong history. During World War, I mean, and we're jumping from one to another, you can afterwards edit it into one line, but during World War, there were cities in Russia, in the Soviet Union, that really stood up to the Nazis heroically. And they got a Russian name called Giroy Gorod, which means heroic city. I think that it's 10 or 12, I'm not sure, I can be mistaken if it's 10 or 12. And even when you go on the train of Russia, if you're passing through a heroic city, they will announce it on the train, and some of the older guys will stand up and salute and things like this. Now, Donetsk has an allergy to fascism and Nazism because they were occupied for about 2.5 years. Now, what people don't realize in Donetsk, and I made a report about it in my YouTube channel, and I went to the site, that the biggest massacre during World War II, and the famous one that happened by the Banderas, was in Babi Yar. Yeah, I don't know if you heard the name. Babi Yar is almost synonymous to Auschwitz. But they took 100,000 Jews because Kiev was a lot of Jews in Kiev. There were a lot of Jews in all that part of the world. They took 100 Jews in front of these trenches, shot them all in a day and thing.
They shot 100,000 people in a day.
Yeah, in Kiev. But outside Kiev, a place called Babi Yar.
Yeah.
But in Donetsk, they did, not in a day, they did a similar thing. It was 75,000. They didn't waste bullets. Because Donetsk is a mining city. It's some of the best coal in the world. They dropped them in a mine shaft, alive.
75,000 people.
75,000. It's a well-known story. Now they're building a museum. Now, during Ukrainian time, they wanted to hush it a little bit. But I went to the site. I have all the documentation in the mine shaft, all the testimonies, everything. It's a well-known thing within circles, you know what I mean?
So did they die when they fell in, or they just survived and then they just left to die?
It's 300 meters. You die.
So it's 300 meters.
By
They
the
die.
impact.
Yeah.
You die by the impact. You choke.
Yeah.
And you can see that there's placards with all their names because the Soviets documented everything. There's a placards with all their names and things like this. They were mostly Jews, but also gypsies, partisans. So, because Donetsk was very much.
So those people would have been sitting there, waiting there all day just to be killed, because you couldn't have pushed them all in one go. It would have
No,
taken...
they just gathered them. They had a few concentration camps. They gathered them concentration camp, moved them to the mine shaft and dumped them. So the people in Donetsk they formed the militias against the Nazis at that time. And it's really amazing. This is a video I didn't make yet from the Museum of Donetsk and thing. So the woman said to the men, so it's a mining city, the toughest men in the world, you know, like coal miners and steel workers, you know. So the men went to fight, and the woman took over and the mines and all the functioning of the city, you know, and it's all. So there, in the DNA of these people, is just like Nazism is not coming in our doorstep again. You know what I mean? And that's why already in 2014 they knew that when basically the extremists in Kiev took over, they knew we're not going through this again. I mean, each one of us has grandparents, some of them still alive, that have gone already through it. You know what I mean? 2.5 years of occupation, like, and so Donetsk has a history of fighting fascism. It's like they're like. I'll give you a difference between Ukraine and Russia. When I was in Kiev, many times I saw people walk with a swastika armband.
Wow.
Well, no, it was common.
Yeah.
It was common. If you would walk in Moscow and St. Petersburg with a swastika armband, I would say you have about 15 minutes to live. And the police would probably just watch when you're,
Wow.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, 27 million people. So at the time, Russia must have had about 120 million or whatever. Soviet Union, or maybe a bit more, about 20% of the population. You know, there's no person in
hasn't been
Russia.
touched.
One of the most moving thing in Russia is the 9th of May. Is the sacred day in Russia. It's Victory Day. So they all go with their placards of their relatives that were killed and march through the streets, you know, millions in every street, you know, you know, and sing their songs and things like this. So anything that resembles for them fascism, Nazism, is a big no-no.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So so I saw this story happen, and I saw 2022 when the war started, and I saw what the media was saying, and I was just like watching them spew lies and spew lies and spew lies. And I decided, I mean, journalism is my blood. My father was a journalist, although I never really focused on it. I wrote a lot. I had a blog for 20 years. I had a blog, wrote, but I never. Actually, I'm a person who embraces technology late, but then I realized this is a magical instrument, you know, which gives us a lot of power, but also can disempower us also. So, 2022, I decided after a few months, in August, I decided to go to Donetsk. But I went to Turkey to fly from Turkey to Russia, and I had an unfortunate accident. Something happened to my back from heavy lifting, and I couldn't walk for a month. It was really a horrible accident. And then on my birthday, Daria Dugina was killed. I don't know if you know Alexander Dugin or Daria Dugina. This is one of the most famous stories in Russia. She was a journalist. Her father is like a philosopher, the modern day philosopher of Russia, and she was killed by a car bomb, which probably was aimed at her father. And then I decided, oh, look, I don't know what's going to happen with my back. Even if I have to crawl, I'll get to Russia before my next birthday. And I managed to I healed my back eventually, and I managed to get to Russia in 2023. I actually had to sneak. There was no independent journalist in Donetsk. There were a couple of people who were from foreign origin, but they've already lived there for 10, 15 years. They had Russian passports, but there was nobody like foreigner.
Yeah.
And a guy called Russell Texas, I don't know if you heard about him. He was an American guy, I think he was ex-Marine, who was an old communist, and suddenly he decided to go years ago to Donetsk, married a woman there, and I wrote to many people and nobody replied to me. And I said to him, look, I want to come, how do I come? He said, just come, we'll sort it out.
You must have been quite scared.
Huh?
You must have been a bit scared.
Me?
Yeah. Or apprehensive, at least.
Scared? No.
Okay.
I was a little bit apprehensive, but I don't know. I'm scared before and after I do things, but when I do things, I'm not scared. So once I stepped on the journey, like I put this, it's like I'm on the journey, you know. And I arrived on the border because there's still a checkpoint between what the Donetsk people call Big Russia in Donetsk, because, you know, arms smuggling, all kinds of things. There's still a checkpoint. And so Russell, I caught a car from Rostov, which is a border town about 100 kilometers, to the border post. And Russell was waiting for me. He just came in. We sat in the car, and you know, I can look Russian, no problem. And Russell also has white hair, and he has a red. They have domestic passports in Russia, and because it's so big, you know. So the border guard is looking at us, and Russell shows him his domestic passport, and I just said to him, "Make yourself invisible." And yeah, I crossed over. It was the last time. After this, I went through that border post for 15 times, and I was questioned for 3 hours. But by then I was known, and I was treated a little bit as a hero, suspected hero.
Yeah.
So I managed to get in. And Russell was a controversial person also, but he looked after me for the first 3 days. And then I'm doing my first video in Donetsk, and it was very interesting. It was, I see this guy, he looks like, he's a biker. You know, he's dressed like a biker with all this through his big bike. It wasn't a Harley, it was some, I forget what bike it was. He would be really angry, I forget. I have it in my videos. I'll send you afterwards, you can put some of these clips. And this guy, I said to him, and I'm just with my phone and some mics and I said, "Can I interview you?" And he just looks at me. I said, "Who are you?" That's how Russians talk. There's no nicety. Where are you from? I said, "I'm from Australia." He said, "You crazy? Do you know where you are? Do you have balls of steel?" I said, "No, maybe I'm just crazy." You know? Then he said, AC/DC, starts to sing me AC/DC songs. You know, he's a biker, you know. And I woke up for the interview feeling quite good, and then a car just stops near me, like the rubber on the thing. This guy gets out, and he said to me, like this. I said, "I don't speak Russian." He said, "Why, you speak English for you? What are you doing here?" I said, "Look, I just came from Australia. I would just like to show the truth, what's happening here." He said, "I'll take care of you. I'll drive you everywhere. I said, "I got no money to pay you," anything like this. He said, "Don't worry about money. It's just like..." Then I realized he's already been, in the past, he took care of some people like this. And at the end, it was a bit of a problem that I didn't have money to pay him. But I mean, I took care of everything, fuel, food, and everything like this. But yeah, he was very, very brave. His name was Sasha. He was super brave. And we went through everywhere we shouldn't have gone. And I got to really show the story of Donetsk. At the same time, and this is also very interesting, within 2-3 weeks, everybody knew there's a foreigner in Donetsk, and in the pubs they were saying, "There's an Australian spy here."
Australian spy.
But it's dark Russian humor, you know what I mean? Australian spy that doesn't speak Russian. I mean, there's so many spies on both sides because, you know, the society is so mixed. And I got started to be interviewed by the FSB, which is the modern-day KGB. I think 8 different teams, but not like you would imagine from the movies, like some dark room and things like that. An invitation to a nice restaurant, they pay, or cafe or restaurant, depends on how good they're feeling in the day. And a lot of questions, because they want to know, you know what I mean? What the fuck are you doing here? Because I also had no press accreditation. Because the Russian...
so you went from the BBC or anything like that?
So the Russian foreign ministry still works in some archaic things, and if you're not from the BBC or things like this, they don't give you press accreditation. And when I tell them, because I was a lot in communication with them, that the BBC would not come here, and if they will come here, they will lie, they're just like, "No, this is the rule. These are the rules." So I'm there with no accreditation, and they come and interview me. And Sasha has no fear of them whatsoever, you know, because they're all from Moscow. They're not from Donetsk, you know. And they're all relatively friendly. A couple of them very friendly, but then the guy that supposedly, until today, I don't know if the head honcho, like 2 meters, the first one that spoke perfect English. Name is Evgeny, and I have no problem to say it because I've already said it in my videos and things. He comes to me and starts to say, I start to question me about, the New World Order. I can see he's investigated my past and Green New Deal and things like this. And how come you're into permaculture, but are you a greenie and you're this? Like a little bit. And then he says to me, look, there's a war zone. You'll speak to who I tell you to speak. You'll do what I tell you. I'll make you a big journalist here, the biggest. And I, unfortunately, or fortunately, I'm known to be sometimes a little bit reactive. I basically gave him the middle finger, but not visually. I told him, I'm not listening to anybody. I'm not working for anybody. That's not why I came here. And you don't fight one form of fascism with another form of fascism. So do whatever you need to do, and I'll do whatever I need to do.
Gutsy, man.
And he was like, so Sasha said to me, look, don't believe the movies or anything like this. He said, the worst that can happen, you're going to be deported.
Yeah.
It's like you haven't done anything wrong, you risk your life for this country, because I almost got killed 5 times.
Wow.
So everybody knows that you're showing the Russia story. Just the worst that can happen, they deport you. They didn't deport me, but they made my life difficult. Like any bonuses that I could have got like, Russian troops coming and, any big scoops that they could have gone, they blocked of me. Like I had an interview lined up with the chief minister of Donetsk, they blocked it. But on the other hand, they loved me and hated me. On the other hand, suddenly there was elections in Donetsk, part of the Russian election. Oh, they come to me personally, the same guys. Oh, please, can you be an election observer?
I'm just going to stop you there. I'm just going to change the battery.
Seen yet. So the survivors are embracing each other, but they're still worried about the people who haven't come out yet. We don't know. We don't really know what happened to who. I think there's already information about who got killed, but I'm not sure.
Ладно, все окей.
Do you live here?
Вы здесь живете?
Да,
What's your name, sir? Sorry.
Кристина.
Christiana, I'm Johnny. What happened here?
Что произошло здесь?
Я была на работе буквально недалеко и слышала 3 очень сильных взрыва. Я очень сильно испугалась, ушла в коридор. А потом вернулась обратно в кабинет, и через минут 10 произошло то же самое еще несколько раз. Потом вроде бы все успокоилось, я вышла на улицу, шла домой. Увидела, что очень-очень-очень-очень много скорых едет, то, что людей очень много пострадавших.
So he heard 3 huge explosions when she was at work. She ran into corridor to save her place. And then she heard another more explosions. So everything she just heard it. It was horrible. Then when she came out, she was at work. When she came out, she saw ambulances coming here, and that's what she witnesses.
So she works nearby. She works.
Да, где-то недалеко работаете?
Да, буквально через несколько домов отсюда.
Couple houses from here.
How does it feel to be living in a city in war?
Каково это жить в городе, который в войне?
Ну, многие мне друзья говорят, что вот нужно уезжать из Донецка, то, что тут нет никаких перспектив, и будущее тут нормально не построишь. Но я уехала всего один раз, когда была маленькая, когда война началась, и вернулась сюда, и поняла, что я никуда не хочу уезжать, и то, что это мой родной город, и никакая война мне не помешает здесь жить хорошо и любить своих друзей и близких.
So some friends asked her why don't she leave from this city because there is low perspective for people, but she was very small. When she was very small, once she left, but then she returned, and she believes that she can still live here. She loves her city, and she wants to live and work and develop here.
We got information that these rockets that fell today are HIMARS. They're supplied from where I come from my countries. What message do you have to the people from my countries that supply these rockets to terrorize your city?
Говорит, судя по всему, это ракетами «Хаймарс» была атакована. Страна, из которой он приехал, поставляет эти ракеты Украине. Что можно сказать людям в его стране, которые поддерживают поставки оружия Украине?
Я ничего не хочу о них говорить, потому что эти люди мне испортили детство.
She don't wanna say anything about these people because they spoiled her childhood. По предложению.
Привет. Как зовут? Only first name.
Данил.
Daniel, you live around here?
Здесь живешь?
Да.
What happened here today?
Что произошло, Димша?
Хохлы обстреляли родной мой город. Все как обычно.
As usual, the Ukrainian forces shoot his city.
Yeah. It was HIMARS today. We got confirmation. So HIMARS are supplied by my countries. What message do you have to the people in my countries that support sending HIMARS to Ukraine to terrorize you?
Сейчас было подтверждение, что обстрел был хаймарсами. Его страна поставляет хаймарсы Украине. Вот что ты можешь сказать людям в его стране, которые поддерживают отправку оружия в Украине?
Которые поддерживают весь этот ужас?
Да.
Ну, гореть вам в аду, что могу сказать. Гореть в аду. И что самое главное, поставки, не поставка, победа в любом случае будет за нами.
So he's saying these people must be burned in hell. And whatever, will this weapon be supplied or not, we will still win.
You are a young person. How do you wish this conflict to end? How do you think it can end?
Ты молодой человек. Как ты думаешь, как ты хочешь, чтобы этот конфликт закончился?
Победа России и уничтожение полностью Украины, как государства.
It must end with total victory of Russia and destroying a state of Ukraine.
Okay. I wish you a life of peace.
Желает жизни в мире.
Вам тоже.
For you too.
And another question I have. In your day-to-day life, do you live in fear?
Вот в повседневной своей жизни ты живешь ли ты в страхе?
Нет. Вообще нет.
Okay. You heard it. These people have been under fire since they were children.
Сколько тебе лет?
18.
He's 18.
Yeah, so since he's 8, he's in war. It's not fun. You see, he's angry and he has a right to be angry. So we can see the people are still coming down. You are still now, still there. And they're still looking for their friends. Everybody's looking.
Back and talking about the elections. They wanted you to cover the elections.
No, they want me to, they want me to be an observer, the election. And that was very interesting, the elections. I made many videos about these elections. It was a very emotional time because the people were singing. They were so happy to be part of Russia, you know. Yeah. But also about the FSB guys, I have to tell you, I felt they were afraid also, you know what I mean? It's a war zone. I could be stupid. I could be filming maybe equipment going through the city that I shouldn't film. When I arrived in Donetsk city, the front line was in Avdiivka, basically, as the crow flies, 8 kilometers from the center of the city.
My Lord.
You know, I could go in one of the suburbs, go on a 6th floor and just watch the fighting, you know what I mean? Like just like a theater, you know?
Yeah.
So they were just like, basically some FSB guys, like all people, are more relaxed and some are more uptight and things like this. But in the other parts of Russia, because I also went to Kursk and Belgorod, I don't know if you know, there are a lot of areas of Russia. during the war, Ukraine at some stage invaded a part of old Russia
Yeah.
and captured it and things like this. And then I could go to these parts with no problem. FSB guys would just come and say, okay, you are Johnee, okay, we know you, okay, no problem.
Yeah, wow.
It's basically Donetsk is still not really martial law, but semi-martial law,
Yeah.
because it's at war. You know what I mean? It's like you can't have stupid things happening.
Yeah.
You know? And but I made it also clear to them, I am not going to cover military stuff. I'm covering only the civilians. I've had the same FSB guys, and maybe that's also why they got pissed off with me. A lot they begging me to come and interview prisoners of war to show how the prisoners of war say about their treatment by the Ukrainians and how about the treatment by the Russians. I said nobody's going to believe it, even if they're speaking the truth.
Yeah, it's true.
You know. And actually, before I left Oz, I investigated through a human rights lawyer. What shall I do? What shall I not do not to get into trouble? You know, under international law. He said, don't interview prisoners of war because it breaks the Geneva Convention. Otherwise, you know, Australia is not at war with Russia, so you can go and you know, do what you're not breaking any law.
No.
But if you're interviewing,
I love the fact that you're doing the civilians, because these are the people who are really affected by all
yes,
this.
yeah.
And they don't have a voice.
Yeah, they don't have a voice whatsoever.
No.
I just did the civilian story, and I have many, and I covered, and a few times they even, you know, suggested, oh, maybe you want to go, and I said, no, I'm not going. This is, I'm not. You can show how heroic the Russian soldiers are. This is not my story. You know. I know the Russian story. The soldiers are heroic. I speak to them sometime in the restaurants, in the cafes, and things like this. Yes, I admire the heroism. It's not for me. It's not my documentation. You know what I mean? I'm not here to glorify any army. I'm here to show that war is a stupid way to resolve issues and things. And I covered civilian stories, and some of them I kept on following. Like on the fourth day I was in Donetsk, Sasha took me to Ivan's office. Ivan is war crime investigator. Sasha was my driver. I told you, I can't even call him my driver because that's almost diminishing. He was
a war companion almost.
He's my companion. Yeah, it's he made things possible. To Ivan's office, he said, "Okay, we're going to the front line, to the suburb on the front line. It's the most have your first taste." And we went to the front line, and they dressed me full gear, which was really annoying.
I saw that in the video.
No, that was not in this video. They dressed me full gear, but why it was annoying for me, because we were walking around the civilians and none of them had gear on and things like that.
Yeah.
So I had to interview the civilians, old ladies, babies and things, and it looked a bit like too much. But as I'm talking, there's this long building, and Ivan was talking to the other side, and me and Sasha were on this side. And I was seeing this woman gardening, and I'm talking to this old lady, and I'm, as we are talking,
Oh my God.
and Sasha said to me, that's about 150 meters from us. The old lady and the woman gardening didn't move. Me being a fool also didn't move. At the other side, they all jumped to take cover in the building. So this lady came to me and said to me, who are you? That was gardening. And I said, look, I'm from Australia. I just want to show the truth, what's happening here to the civilians. She said to me, we're shelled every day, all day. It's like, it's a frontline suburb. All people are left are old people, invalids, like disabled, invalids, and single mothers. Anybody that had money left somewhere else, you know. Yeah. And she said, I have a 7-year-old baby inside. I said, she hasn't been one day without shelling. I said, can I meet her? He said, she's sleeping. We left. We did this with my first report of shelling and things like that. And then I said to Sasha, we got to go and find this lady again. I got to find the baby. So he made a few phone calls because there's only one central shop, you know, like in the old days used to be post office shop in some of these places. They have us also in these suburbs. We found a shop. They said to us, yeah, give us the address. We went back and found it. I said, I want to meet the baby. Oh my God, the most gorgeous little girl that immediately hugged me and thing.
Wow.
And so I already made 8 videos about her. Her name is Violetta. And the second time we went to visit, Johnee, the mother of the baby, she said, let's go to the shop. I want you guys to come with me because many times there's shelling. The shop is only 150 meters. We start walking to the shop, me and Sasha with the baby, and me and Sasha taking turns hold of it, and suddenly shelling starts. And if you see, I'll send you the picture, the eyes of Violetta, it's just like she knows that something is wrong. She doesn't know what's wrong, but it's like, and I'm just like talking to God, whatever you want to call God. I talk to the Great Spirit, whatever. I'm talking to God, I'm saying, this baby is not dying on my watch. You make sure we're okay. I'll take care of her for the rest of my life, you know. And it was okay. I mean, there was about 7 incomings during when we walked to the shop.
And are these missiles or just like bombs? Like artillery shells?
This is artillery because it's you don't waste on poor suburbs missiles. The center of the city gets the missiles. You know what I mean? These are sometimes 155, sometimes just 82. And
why are they shelling the suburbs? There's no army there. There's no.
They were shelling all the time civilian places. You know, and to be honest with you, in all my time in Donetsk, sometimes I would see a night, of course it's a frontline city, I would see troop movement, but I never saw any installations in the city, you know? So it's terrorism. I mean, they used to shell the Saturday market when they know where the civilians come. You know, they have, like we have, farmers market.
This is Ukraine, so they target it, and then once they're there, then they shell it. So they just wanted to kill people.
Yeah, I mean, like the farmers market, like Malm farmers market would be shelled on Friday. That's what they would do, you know. Or there would be free bread, or they would know that there's free food distribution because they have intelligence. Everybody has intelligence. Yeah. There's spies on all sides, you know. They know when these things are happening, and they will shell them, you know. And so I just decided that maybe I can reach out people by showing the personal stories of war. You know what I mean? Like the story of a baby. Like I remember when we made Violetta, I made her, she just celebrated her 3rd birthday and I couldn't be there, but I sent the money for some woman to organize the birthday and thing. But the first birthday we celebrated for her in the Humanitarian Aid Center in Donetsk. And I invited about 30 frontline kids that all, you know, haven't grown, had a day without shelling. And they were so happy. And there was balloons all over the place. And then 2 balloons exploded and they all jumped under the table.
Wow.
So people don't think about war. People think about war like soldiers and things. But then you have, for example, I show you something even more interesting that people would not even think. Violetta hasn't had a day without shelling. And about 9 months ago, I could be corrected, maybe it was 8 months. Anyway, Russia pushed the front line away, and the suburb where Violetta lives is hardly being shelled now. In the first couple of months of silence, Violetta couldn't sleep because she never had silence.
Wow.
Familiar already with this road, but we are heading. Again to frontline suburb to check again on the girl and her family and see generally what's happening there. So another day of going to frontline settlements with Golden Wing. We call the car. Everything has a life, even metal has a life, everything comes from life. So, I mean, I personally always had names for my cars, so now you'll know when we refer to Golden Wing, it's the old beast here that's running really good. Yeah. And you hear the bombs in the background. We are walking here with the baby. There's no other choice. Ooh. This is the sound this girl has to, and this family has to grow up with. So you hear what it is. And we're walking here. And basically it's like, but it's by the grace of God if we will make it through the thing. It's just so we're walking with a mother and a baby. In the last 5 minutes, there's already been 3 shells that could have easily hit us.
Oh, God. Sorry, man.
No, it's you know.
It's great what you're saying, but it just takes time to take it in. It's just so powerful, man.
It's like, it's crazy, and a lot of the kids have speech impediments. So Violeta doesn't speak yet; she's 3. Yeah. She was taken already because I treat her like my daughter, although I'm not allowed to adopt. I mean, there's no father, and so Johnee, the mother, is taking care of her disabled mother who can't walk, and of and a single mother in a place called Kumulanka. They don't have their own toilet and shower. It's all communist buildings where you share toilets and showers between the whole floor, and they live in the most basic conditions, But look, I even had a donor, but these people, the most important thing for them is community. I offered Violeta's mother and things. I got a donor from the UK to buy them a house for $5,000 somewhere, like a worn-down house. But Johnee is a handyman, handywoman.
Yeah.
That's her job,
Yeah.
So she would fix it. But she said, I can't leave my community. That's what saves me. It's like these people have grown up together. They never known anything else.
They endure together.
They're salt of the earth people. You know what I mean? She said when she was thinking before she was pregnant, when she was pregnant, somebody moved her to some town in Russia. She sat all alone. People did not even understand what she was saying because they have different dialects of Russian and things. She just moved back. She said, I need to be with my people, like it's her relatives, her people. That's how it is, I even asked, people don't understand what Donetsk is. It's a city in war for now since 2014, so 11 years, and there's still 1.5 million people living there. Even after many people left, 1.5 million people. Everything still happens in Donetsk. Love, death, marriage, schools, kindergartens. I can't even start to tell you, and you can go to my YouTube channel, how many hospitals I've covered have been shelled, how many schools have been shelled.
And
They're the targets.
Are the schools shelled while the kids are at school?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Schools, kindergartens. I mean, they have a New Year's Eve, not the last year, the year before, all the journalists left, Russian journalists all left, everybody left. I was the only journalist in town. And suddenly midnight, I knew it would happen. Destruction of the city. It's like at least 30, 40 shells in the center of the city. I thought, okay, it's night time. I don't have any translator. I don't have anything. I'll wait until first light, 4:30. I went and started documenting it. The children's center, because in cold countries they have these big children's centers where there's playgrounds, there's climbing places.
But they're inside.
They're inside, yeah.
Cold,
A baby center. They were all destroyed. They were all destroyed, and we made a note to make Violeta's second birthday in the children's center that was destroyed, with all the boards still boarding the windows and things like this, as an act of defiance and things like this. And we asked the mother before. He said, okay. She said, yes, we're going to make it there, the birthday. So, but it just doesn't make sense, because the Ukrainians have children too, and some of them are relatives of the children here. It's like, so the brainwash of the people is, mean, it's to a level unbelievable. It's unbelievable, this level. I ended up making one documentary because there was a story that really touched me. There was a shelling in the center of Donetsk, and like I had one thing that I stood out for. I have a little bag. You showed me. I showed you the other day. I have this little bag, so I have my iPhone and my action camera there, like Osmos Pro, a very small action camera that I can put here or here.
Oh yeah, like a GoPro.
Yeah, a GoPro, but a different company.
Yeah, yeah.
I have an action camera, and it all fits in that. So when there's a big, you can immediately hear it. Because I'm staying in a hotel. I'm looking over the city, and you can immediately hear it. All the other journalists, which are Russian, they have to go to the hotel and get their equipment and things like this. I always have my equipment on me. I'm always ready, So I'm first on site. So there's a big, huge shelling in the center of the city. And we get them. Me and Sasha get there first. And there's, so we see two HIMARS. HIMARS are American missiles. They're big missiles. And you don't make a mistake with a HIMAR. You know what I mean? With mortars, with 155, okay, you can say 50 meters, 70 meters, 100 meters.
Yeah.
It went, of course. HIMARS, they're all computerized, satellite. It goes like this and then like this. It doesn't fly like this. Precise. So it targeted the social welfare ministry of Donetsk, which was basically mostly middle-aged women sitting there and dealing. 5 of them died. And we are there, and people are screaming because they couldn't get from upstairs. It was all destroyed, the staircase and thing. We are the first one. I'm saying to Sasha, call the bloody fire thing. I think I don't need to call everybody, all the city knows, they'll come and things like this. And so we cover the story. It's many hours destroyed, and then these kids come. Kids, for me they're kids, teenagers. They come and they always help with rescue because they're very nimble.
Yeah.
Rescue people, soldiers, in Russia also soldiers are not very young. Many of them are in 30s and their 40s. So these kids, they can get in, they can find bodies, they can find people alive much easier. So they have their Telegram groups and they are, teenage boys.
So this is community.
Yeah, teenage boys, they're on the hero part of they're full of testosterone. They come to help. And then I've seen these kids in other places before and helping, so I came after the helping and I said to them, who's going to give me an interview? They don't want.
So they don't even want to share their heroics.
No, they don't want to give. Then one of them said, I'll talk with you. And I talked with him. We finished the talk. And then there was an anti-air intercepting missile above us. So we all sat down, and I looked at Sasha, and I said, Sasha, let's get out of here. We walk 50 meters, like from here to that caravan there. Yeah. Another missile falls and kills the kid. And
kills the kid you just interviewed?
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
I showed you a documentary I made, NATO's Victims. It's his story of life and death I made. So,
that's the one I was watching about the boy.
I don't know, you sent you 3 or 4. So,
Okay,
so it kills him and another 7, 8 people. And because that...
How does that feel to you? You've just interviewed him and now he's gone.
Look, in the moment you don't feel anything, you're trying to survive. So we are like, okay. So by the way, that's a tactic they use many times. They shell somewhere. They know that after a while, all the first responders and media will come, and then they shell again to get the media and the first responders. And about 40 journalists already died in this war. 3 of them interviewed me, that interviewed me. Because for Russian media, it was a scoop to interview me. This old guy from Australia is roaming around.
Crazy old man.
Crazy old man running around Donetsk, So I didn't know he was killed that moment.
Okay.
You can't believe what happened. The destruction that happens from one of these missiles. I mean, everything is destroyed. Like, so me and Sasha saying to me, let's go back there and see what happened. I said to Sasha, there's going to be so many bodies and blood. You sure you want to go back? He said, let's go back. He said, we want the story. Okay. He was like this, Sasha. Anyway, we went back, and I made a mistake there because there was many bodies, and there were some firemen bodies. And so I'm filming, but I should have stayed silent. I started talking, and they heard English. And one of them said, "The enemy is here. You fucking just killed us with your weapons." And look, it's the moment. I don't think you can understand how it is to see all your mates in pieces.
They want blood.
Yeah,
They want to hit something.
they heard English.
Yeah.
So Sasha just said, just take a hike. He kept the camera. I mean, these people, the next hour will hug me in the pub. You are the hero of our city. But in the moment, I'm the enemy.
Yeah.
So I just took a hike. I think I stayed. We didn't know whose body was who. I think that is. Sasha took the footage. And you have to understand, after all this, I have to go back to the hotel. And I have to edit and think and release it. And I'm all running on a mixture of anger, adrenaline, sadness. And I even didn't know if it was one of the only times I didn't know if I should release this video. And I actually, luckily enough, there was a FSB guy sitting in the foyer of the hotel. And I said, I showed him the footage. I mean, Sasha showed him the footage. I don't want to talk to them, get permission, because I don't know. I mean, this is so gory. And he said, yeah, go ahead, release it, you know. So we didn't know Daniel died. We didn't know. 2 or 3 days later, the main newspaper in Russia has the headlines, family is looking for the Australian journalist who was the last to talk with their son before he died. So my Sasha contacts me and said to me, family is looking for you. You got to go and talk to them. And I went to meet them, and my first thing is, okay, I'm going to make the story of his life. I'll make a documentary about him as just a teenager. I mean, I said, you agree to talk? You agree to go on camera, all of you, all your friends, things, and they agreed. So we went to his. So I didn't know. I missed the funeral, but 40 days in Orthodox Christianity. After 40 days, you have a wake, like you have a big. They invited us to the party of his life. We went to this restaurant and we sat there, and then we went the next day to the cemetery, and then took the story of all his life, his interview. It's amazing the instinct of men in the countries where men are still allowed to be men, because he was with his girlfriend, and the moment it happened, he just jumped on his girlfriend. So he got the thing that chopped his head. His girlfriend also got in the head. She had about 3-4 operations, but she lived, you know.
So he protected her.
Yeah, he protected her. Beautiful young girl. They were such a beautiful young couple. Just first love. Both of them were first love, you know. And incidentally, the restaurant that we did the wake in was also hit by a HIMARS and destroyed a few months later. And so I did the story of his life, and it's amazing interviewing his mother. His mother saying, it's like, you see, I mean, she's quite young. I mean, for me, she's young, you know. I mean, he was 16, 17. She wasn't a day over 38. And she's like, I don't hate the other side. We were teaching our children, she has a son and daughter, not to hate the other side, that we are the same, you know. We were always teaching them not to hate, you know, but they, you know, they always wanted to help when there was shelling and things like this, and zero hate. And I asked them that lost their son, I said, so how should we resolve it? He said, we just need to sit on the table, there's no other way, you know.
That's I watched the video. That's where the father said,
yeah,
no land is worth this many deaths.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. I mean, it's like...
And his son was one of those dead.
Yeah. And you have to understand, more than 1.5 million people died. People don't understand the numbers yet. Yeah. Russians are not really giving the numbers, but I have so many sources. I mean, I have trust in Russia. That's what I have, with the people who really matter. So I would say it's about 1 to 4, 1 to 5. It's still huge numbers.
Yeah.
For the Russians also.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I've been to the cemetery in Donetsk, and then I've been to the cemetery in Donetsk 2 months later, and I see how many more Russian flags are, because the dead soldiers have a Russian flag on the thing. So I can see how many are dying like every month and two, just from Donetsk.
Yeah.
You know, and they come from all over Russia. You know, so yeah, man, it's just a war of empire. You know, and the thing is, it's a huge front line. I've asked many times why you don't just go and conquer everything and just finish it. There's not enough soldiers, like say, to actually, let's say they go and conquer Odessa, because Odessa is a Russian city. They want Odessa, they want Nikolaev, the Russians, not Putin. But who will hold these cities? I mean, Russia doesn't have a problem. Russia and Ukraine are in a different position. Russia has more volunteers than it can recruit. And Ukraine, they're recruiting by force. You can see that, like by force.
Yeah.
Russia have more volunteers than recruit because the Russian soldiers are getting a good salary.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not shying from this point. They get a good salary. It's it's a tradition to fight for their fatherland, motherland in Russia. Some call it fatherland, some motherland. But there's no shortage of volunteers. But there's a problem of Putin has to juggle, because I've talked with economists. I think he has to juggle. If he turns all the country into war economy, it could collapse. Because the way a Russian person explained to me in Moscow, there's two Russias now. There's Moscow, St. Petersburg, all these places. People don't know of this war. If they didn't look at TV, they wouldn't know war is happening.
So the people in Moscow and Petersburg don't, like the war's not even happening?
There's nothing.
Wow.
It's on TV.
Yeah.
You know, it's only in Donetsk, Lugansk, and the regions that are close to Kursk, Belgorod, Rostov, these regions that are close to the border. No, I mean, Russia has 11 time zones.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You know?
That's incredible.
So, no, they don't. They don't. And sadly, I would say that especially in Moscow, which is more liberal city, some of them don't even care. Not a lot, but some.
Yeah.
Mind you, you have to, because of my poor Russian, I speak more with the English speakers, and the English speakers are usually more the liberal-leaning thing. So, look, this is a war empire. It's because Russia poses many threats. Not the threat of Russia doesn't want to expand. America has 860 bases outside of the U.S. Russia has 2. You know, Russia is not an expansionist country. They have more land that they can actually manage. They have more resources than they need. You know, like they don't want to expand. Yeah. But Russia is standing for something different to what the West is standing now. You know, now regardless of what your opinions is, there's many Westerners immigrating to Russia.
Yes, I've interviewed them.
Russia is standing for family values.
Yes.
And this is very important for people. Like, and contrary to what people think. It's not that in Russia it's illegal to be gay or anything like this. Like, I live in an area of Moscow which is a bit of a yuppie area. I need to be in this, you know, and you even see gay people holding hands and things like this. So Russia is the same like everywhere, like in the big cities, there's gay pubs, there's things, and the outback, it's like out here in the outback, you don't want to be seen like this. But there's no promotion, there's no trans stories in school.
There's no flags flying
There's
everywhere.
no flags falling, it's not being promoted as an alternative, you know, like...
So if you're gay, you're gay.
You're gay, but you're not encouraged. Oh, explore if you're gay as a little kid. You know what I mean? It's like, if you're gay, you're gay. We're not going to interfere with you. It's your story. So, contrary to what thinking people, the people are saying, Putin is putting. So, Russia has an amazing system. So, I would say that we are the same economy as Russia, right? Why do we have so many homeless people and Russia doesn't have any homeless people?
I don't know.
Because it's also, Russia also has good things from the Soviet era, you know, like everybody should have a house, you know what I mean? Everybody should have accommodation. In Russia, you get first-time owner, if it's not Moscow and St. Petersburg, if it's any regional city or town, and regional city could be 1 million people, it's not, you could just find your land, the government will pay you to build a house. You know what?
My God.
I know an American guy who's living in Belgorod, and he Belgorod is a very beautiful town of 500,000 people, like exquisite town with the best steakhouse I've been in Russia and things like that. Like, you know, bars, cafes, smashed avocado on toast, you know, like really hip town. And he just lives like 20 minutes out of town, like in a suburb, and they paid him everything. You know what I mean? You had to find the land, make the intent, and they paid everything. So there's no homelessness in Russia.
That's amazing.
Their resource-based economy, their resources, their money stay in Russia.
Yeah.
Our money goes overseas.
Our money goes overseas.
Our money goes overseas.
The corporate raiders.
We don't have any train system, and we always blame it on the big country that we have. How come Russia has a train everywhere? They're much bigger than us. There's at least 3 Australians inside Russia.
Yeah.
They have a train system going everywhere.
Yeah.
And not like us, 80 k's an hour. They have a speed train, like a 300 k's an hour train between Moscow,
Like a bullet train.
Between Moscow and St. Petersburg, you know. Yeah. I mean, they have... In Moscow, the streets are washed 6 times a day.
Wow. Wow.
The guy was... I mean, it's like we live in in Russia, I take my phone, I take your phone number, I transfer money to you in a second. You have the money. Here I send money from the Commonwealth Bank to a friend of Commonwealth Bank, and if I haven't sent it to them before, it's 3 days.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know, many times in restaurants, I didn't have cash, okay, they don't have a credit card machine, okay, just, this is my phone number, pay. It's like, where do we live? Why do we think, and sanctions, for instance, they're all a lie. You go to the Russian supermarket, nobody sanctioned Russia. They're telling stories.
Yeah.
50 types of olive oil, wine from everywhere in the world, pasta from Italy. They're lying.
Yeah. And the most remarkable thing is, you approached me here yesterday, and you said, with this story, just your views of what you've seen, and yet no one here will interview you. No ABC.
I don't even give views, man. If you start listening to my views, it will be...
not your opinions, but what you've seen.
No, but I'm an eyewitness reporter.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
right.
It's like I contacted every... I came back to Australia 18 months ago for 6 weeks. Sorry, I just...
That's right.
I came. I have a lozenge.
Yeah, no
thing.
worries, I'll stop.
Yeah, just stop. Excuse me, it fell right here.
It's this guy is.
It fell right here. So we see another rocket. We see dead. We see injured. Yeah, we see dead. We see injured. Fuck. A rocket just fell here. Right here. More. Oh my God. I mean, you see there's multiple casualties here. Man, this is what we call terror. Dead everywhere.
Брат, не снимай сейчас, блин, не снимай, хватит нахуй прилетом, блин. Ты кто, блин?
No, I don't know. No,
I don't know, иди нахуй отсюда тогда, блин. Go away, run, блин.
Okay, this is the final part, and the real question is, so you're saying how many journalists did you approach to tell this story?
Man, I have approached, I wrote to everybody. The Sky News, the Channel 7, the Channel 9, the Channel 10, to the ABC. Nobody wants to hear the story. We blame Russia for being a dictatorship, for being an authoritarian country. We are authoritarian.
Yes.
I mean, why can't people hear all sides of the story and make their mind?
Yes.
Like, I'm not saying I know everything.
No, you're not saying they have to believe you,
Yeah,
but why
people-
can't we just hear what you've got to say?
No, they don't want. It's the same like what happened in the COVID era.
Yeah.
I mean, this country has really turned from probably the best country on earth to one of the worst. We're living in a dictatorship, but we make believe that it's a democracy.
Yeah, that's it. That's absolutely correct.
And look what's happening with the democracies around the world, the so-called liberal democracies that in my youth Well, sort of democratic. Canada, the US,
New Zealand.
New Zealand, Australia, the UK. What's happening to these countries? They're all in deep decline. I mean, look at the... I talked with a Chinese guy the other day, which I met in Bangkok, and it's not a democracy. Nobody has an illusion that it's a democracy. He's a primary school teacher. He owns his flat, he has a car, and he goes overseas twice a year. Show me the primary school teacher here. So,
Afford that.
yeah, who can afford that? So democracy, what's the meaning of democracy?
Yeah.
Freedom of speech, we don't have.
No, we don't. We risk
We
doing
do not have
this.
freedom of speech.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to sit underneath a tent in an oval to say things.
Yeah, you should be in a studio like with 60 Minutes doing this interview.
I had a... The ABC actually did invite me in Lismore because that's 18 months ago when I was here, because they didn't really realize, when I told them I'm come from the Ukraine war, they didn't really look at the videos that I've sent them. I think they didn't look because they invited me. And only when we were having coffee before the interview that something clicked with the producer, and then suddenly it's like, we'll call you and there's something wrong with the studio today. You know, nobody wants to hear the truth. Oh, forget about the truth. Maybe there's no absolute truth in this world, you know. But we have become, I mean, I drive a lot, you know, living in rural Australia, I drive a lot. I don't know why I still listen to the ABC. I don't know, maybe because I like listening to the cricket or whatever. But I'm listening to the ABC. It's a horror story. It's propaganda. It's not journalism.
No, not anymore.
It's pure propaganda. We are indoctrinated into something that is going to destroy us. And if we don't wake up soon, and I'm very surprised that a lot of Australia did not wake up during COVID, that they forgot so soon what they did to us during COVID. Even in Russia, when I was talking to the Russians, they're like, my God, COVID looks much worse than the communist era. You know, we had more freedom in the communist era than you had in COVID time.
Correct. That's correct. I was in Melbourne during the whole time. It was, people want to forget it, but it was, we were locked down for 259 days.
Yeah, I mean, I have no problem to criticize Russia. I've criticized Russia when criticism is due. Russia is not a perfect democracy, and Russia doesn't have total freedom of speech. Absolutely not. It has more freedom of speech than here. And the fact that also imagine a Russian journalist, independent Russian journalist, coming to Australia and reporting during times of war in Australia. He would be in jail.
Yeah, that's right. He'd be kicked out.
Be kicked out immediately, you know?
Yeah.
Russia has way more freedom of speech than we do, within its constraints, you know what I mean? You have to be clever everywhere, you know what I mean? You don't want to be stupid, you know? And when you criticize, you have to make productive criticism, positive criticism that also provides some solution and things. But no, Russia has way more freedom of speech. And I said it in Russia in 2018 and they laughed at me, you know? But I saw Australia start to go down the hill, you know, like in the last decade. It's like, and the way we live, the way that, in Russia everybody can afford a home.
Wow. Yeah, we have a whole generation that can't afford homes now.
Every soldier that volunteers for the war in Russia gets first a bonus of 800,000 ruble, which is like 800,000. It's like $16,000, right? A bonus. With that bonus, they can buy. I'm not talking Moscow, St. Petersburg. That's a different story. That's, but you know, in the provinces, you can go back and buy a house.
For $16,000. Yeah, it's an extraordinary time. And I think we're still trying to hold on to myths of what we thought Australia was, and it's not that anymore.
The amount of support that families have for their children, and then I forget it was 5 or 6 children. If you have 5 or 6 children, you get a car also. You know, like, it's like, I don't know, what are we trying to do here?
No, I don't know.
Are we trying to destroy society? I mean, what are we trying to do here? I mean, it doesn't feel that we are looking into the future of a healthy society in Australia.
It doesn't look like we're heading somewhere that's conducive to the human soul.
I mean, when I say to Russians that there's homeless in Sydney and Melbourne, they cannot believe. When I say to them there's 50,000 or 100,000, I forget the exact numbers, but between 50 and 100,000, they just like they think I'm pulling their leg. They can't believe a rich country like Australia has homeless people. They just can't believe. That's how stupid we are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You walk around Melbourne City at night time,
Yeah.
and it's like wall to wall mattresses on the floor with homeless everywhere.
Yeah.
Just wall to wall homeless.
I mean, that just shows one thing: poor management.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm really disappointed in Australians that still believe in the myth of Labour or Liberal or Green. They're all the same.
Yeah.
I mean, I was one of the people that used to be chained to bulldozers with the Northeast Forest Alliance, you know what I mean? And we were first dreaming about the Greens, you know, and Ian Cohen was one of my best friends, and he was one of the first Green members to Parliament. They all sold out.
Yeah.
Well, the Greens are the same.
Yeah.
It's like, so stop thinking. I mean, I have friends that still think that Trump is clearing the swamp. Trump is the king of the swamp. It's like, stop believing they're all wings of the same bird.
Yeah. No, it's all theatre now. Propaganda is theatre.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's all theatre now.
No, I think it's horrendous. I think it's horrendous what's happening here. I think it's horrendous, the lack of resistance.
Yeah. Well, look at me. I'm like you. I'm an independent journalist.
Yeah.
I've always been, all I've done is interviewed the people who are affected by COVID. The people in the trench. That's all I've interviewed. Thousands of interviews doing that.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of the same, except not in Ukraine, I'm here.
Yeah.
And this is the only way I can survive, in a bus, on the road, because, you know, you're a fringe dweller.
Yeah.
They don't want you. But people love you. They keep telling you to keep going. But the system itself doesn't want you.
Yeah, I mean, the economic survival here, I mean, that's part of the story. I mean, it's so hard to survive here economically that people don't have time to think.
Yeah.
You know? Look, again, I would say, because people are going to be accusing me about this and Russia and that Russia. Russia's not a perfect place. I haven't been to the perfect place yet. Good day, everybody. Here we are in Cafe Revolution and Voice of Donbass, Sasha and Johnee. Sasha's behind the camera at the moment. For those of you following us, you probably recognize this place. This is Alina's house. And today we have another guest. The girl that was with Alina that day. And she's been shy up to now, feeling insecure to face the camera. But now she agreed to come and also tell her story. And let's see what she has to say. Let's see what the girls have to say. I think it's now 3 weeks after. Sasha, 3 weeks? Yeah, I think it's 3 weeks after. And interesting enough, already they fixed her roof. And I can see there's some work already starting to be done around the windows. The roof is fixed. So you see, people do get on with their lives. Things do get fixed, and then they get destroyed, and then they get fixed. And once the war ends, it will be total regeneration of the city. But at the moment, it's too risky to really fix things like in the most perfect way. But yeah, let's invite the girls and see what they have to say. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, share. This is real eyewitness reporting from the ground. And of course, donate to us. You can see what we're doing with the money. Apart from our own expenses, which are lots, we are helping. Probably on every site we go to, we end up helping somebody. So Alina, in a few days, she's going to get from us first 50,000 rubles. She already received from your donation 5,000 to her Russian bank account. They're building up, these two girls are building up their journey to actually go to dance school and leave this ground for a while, leave the reality of war for some little while. Hello. Here we have, I think you know our star Alina already, and today Nastya is with her. About this. Okay, Alina, I see, since we were here last time, you have a new roof.
Да. Нам родственники помогли, они сказали, ну, они нашли, у нас тоже вот у родственников родственник как бы работает в строительной фирме, и у него есть своя бригада, и он попросил приехать, посмотреть, что, сколько мои родственники помогли, они оплатили полностью все материалы, и вот 2 человека приехали, они за 2 дня сделали полностью крышу, вот только одну сторону как бы поменяли. Вот, потому что они хотели побыстрее, пока холода не настали, пока дожди не настали, и они прям четко под дождь успели. Да.
Во дворе тоже убрано все уже.
Это мы
Своими силами уже,
да, это мы с друзьями просто собрались. Вот после прилета прошло, дней 5, может быть, и мы приехали все вместе, я всех своих друзей собрала, и потихонечку все быстренько убрали. Сколько? 2-3 часа потратили, наверное.
Быстро убрали.
Да.
So she invited her friends in 5 days, and they cleaned it all together.
So they cleaned it alone, okay. So you see, they cleaned it alone. I mean, I think the government tries to help. I mean, I'm not, I don't trying to make excuses from the government of not doing things and things like this, but there's a lot to do here. So, yeah, it's so nice that the friends came and cleaned it all.
Настя, еще я просто слышал и от Алины, от твоего отца очень много теплых, хороших слов, какой он был человек, сколько он всего сделал. И в Мариуполе, я представляю примерно, как это могло быть. И, то есть ты говоришь, очень мало чего знаешь, но если...
Не любил он рассказывать особо.
Да, он семью держал всегда подальше от этого.
А почему?
Защищал.
Он всегда защищал.
Явно он видел много чего, но рассказывать, наверное, как-то не по-мужски, чтобы еще больше беспокоились и тому подобное.
То есть после Мариуполя ему удалось дома побыть, он приезжал?
Да, у него было 2 больших увала. После Мариуполя, по-моему. Нет, после Попасной уже, не после Мариуполя, а в Попасную. Там после Попасной он был где-то 2 недели дома и как раз за месяц до смерти. У них было распределение, он месяц тоже был в увале.
То есть ничего не рассказывал, просто оберегал вас, рассказывал, что все хорошо.
Да, как свадьба там проходит у них.
Рассказывал только хорошее, да. Если что-то было. Как они там спят весело, свои бунгавы показывал.
Go a bit further so you can see the whole picture, the dog and everything.
Скажите, по поводу Маринки, ничего ты тоже не знаешь, да? Он просто сказал, все, пора идти снова, и ушел.
Да. Я же говорю, он никогда особо не рассказывал о чем-то, что могло бы вызвать беспокойство. Вот. Он мог не поехать тогда на Маринку. Типа, его собирались забрать. Он такой, я ж не могу кинуть своих пацанов. Вот. И на следующую ночь погиб.
У тебя сестра старшая, да?
Я младшая. 4 года разница.
So her father didn't talk about the war. He was protecting them, telling them only good stories. He have 1 weekend for 2 weeks after first operation. Then he went to Mariupol. Then he had another weekend. Then he joined this operation here. And she said it was possible for him not to go another time to this Marinka. But he said, how I can leave my team? So the guys, I want to be with them. We feel this brotherhood. And next day he was killed.
I'm so sorry. Evalina, many of you know her already. She's actually growing in front of our eyes because now she has a new style, becoming more and more in. Alina, yesterday we went and there was an incoming just a few meters from your house where you got injured. How do you feel?
Мне просто рассказать, да? У меня, получается, крестная, она живет, буквально напротив меня. И она только приехала с России, она там, уезжает с Донецка, потому что тут небезопасно и подрабатывает там. И она очень сильно испугалась, потому что это буквально прям за ее домом прилет был. И, мне страшно, я переживаю за своих родственников. Хоть они мне и не по крови, но все равно эти люди меня растили. И она продолжает жить там тоже. Мы переехали, но мы не так далеко от предыдущего нашего места жительства находимся. И очень сильно, страшно.
So you see Alina here, she's working now 12-hour shifts to fulfill a dream of going to dance school. And so I want to remind you that the campaign to support Alina is still on. So please donate to her. She's a very hard worker. She wants to fulfill her dreams, and we're going to help her fulfill her dreams. Alina, last word. You were lucky yesterday. Really, sometimes we do have to believe in there. If there's no God, there's some force.
Тебе очень повезло вчера, да, если не Бог, то какая-то сила есть, которая помогает.
That protects us.
Мне кажется, это мама.
When I met Jesus Christ, he was almost 10 years old. And he was helping his mother push a trolley full of all they owned. And because they couldn't find an inn they could get in, they were heading to the city and leaving Bethlehem. Couldn't you perform a miracle? I'm out of him, he said. I tried turning nothing into warmth, but it just made my mother cry. It just made my mother cry. Mary Magdalene has become a man, and tonight he's old, and she has been riding my tram. Now it's late and she's trying to sleep beneath the poster for a bank. Your dreams are important to us as it bathes her face in gold. Come give us your natural gifts, we make wealth from toil. Come pretend for history's page that we're advancing Australia fair. Let's pretend that we're all advancing Australia fair. Back down the road I found the church we built on the black man's bones was empty, and out the front a sign read all but sold. A sign read all but sold. And we all owe so much money, but to whom we're not quite sure. So hey,